Everyone, welcome back. Chris Stout here. In this episode, we will be covering road rallying. There's a variety of different types of it. This is one form of it. My wife and I went through the Vintage Rallies Mountain Mille, I think is how it's pronounced, this last year in 2024. We'll be covering in this episode the founders of it, Rich and Jean Taylor, who are two amazing people. You'll hear a bit about their bio in just a second. We'll cover the different kinds of car classes, the sample of some of the cars there, what the rally book looks like and why it's really kind of your totem for being able to get through an event like this, the hotels we were at, the additional stops we made, the people, the charities, and I'll end up with two shortened videos of what it was like to be on the road. So hopefully this will be entertaining and educational to you and maybe demystifying what road rallying is all about, or at least here in the United States. Not rally cars or anything going sideways on dirt roads, but really pretty curvy, beautiful areas. So here we go. This is the Corvette C8. If you've seen other episodes in this series, this is the car that has kind of been the Swiss Army knife of doing everything. Land speed racing, road racing, you name it, just kind of everything. The overall tour of this, we came from Wisconsin all the way out east to do the 1,000 miles and then did a couple of other things along the way back. Stopped at the Corvette Museum and saw some friends, saw some family, etc. So for about a little over 2 weeks, we were just in the Corvette, and this is our luggage. It all fit in the front and back, and was generally really pretty comfortable. So that tip of the hat again to not only the engineers for their ingenuity with being able to make a world-class car, but then also the ability to make it a bit of a grand tour, a little bit of a GT. So this is my wife and I in one of our stops. So if you're interested in rallies, there's a variety of them out there. I have been a fan for the longest of vintage rallies. You can find out, I think, gosh, years ago, before COVID, they might have done 3 to 4 a year. Then COVID hit, that kind of put a pause on everything, and now they're coming back with, I think, 2 a year. And they vary east and west, Southwest, etc. So check them out, vintagerallies.com, and you can see some pictures from the past and learn more about it. Fill out their forms. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And also, one of the people we met, a big shout out to Greg Stanley. He published on YouTube, Experience the Incredible 2024 Mountain Mille from Vintage Rallies. He did a great job of it. He's really good, much better than I am at editing, etc. And I'll have this in the show notes too, this link. So highly recommend checking out his work and checking out that video. So when you come to their website, you come here. It's really pretty straightforward, very functional, and you can click on whatever activity, whichever rally it is that you're interested in, and it'll take you to that page. So for us right now, that the time I'm doing this is December 2024. We just did the rally in October, and they've already updated. So they've got a look back of what the 2024 rally was like. It was the 20th through the 25th. They've already got the application for doing their 2025 rallies. So I'd highly recommend that. And these are actual shots of actual people that were doing it. The fall was beautiful being out east. We were in Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and for us, we drove out, so we went through Ohio and Kentucky and Illinois and Indiana, which is just really beautiful roads and beautiful scenery and whatnot. So it just in a variety of different kinds of really cool cars. I'll talk about this lists some of the people that got zeros, and zero is kind of what you want to go for, meaning that you just really kind of nailed the time. So I'll talk more about that and scoring and whatnot in just a second. This is the entry application. It's very easy. So the two that they're going to have next year is a May and fall one, spring and fall kind of car. I was always a little intimidated about it, that I didn't have the proper car for it since it was called Vintage Rallies. And personally, I didn't want to drive something that was 25 years old and be fearful of having it break down. But a couple of points about that. One is it does not have to be, you'll see in the cars in just a second, something that's 25 years old or older, which was a great relief. However, they have what they call wranglers. You'll see some of their pictures in just a second, who will do basically, they're amazing mechanics. They keep track of everybody. They shuttle your luggage. And it's just really kind of a wonderful, wonderful experience. So that's the appetizer. We'll get more into it in just a second. Tip of the hat to Rich and Jean Taylor. I forget, they have done, I think, something like 130 of these rallies over the years. They are both, check out their bios on their websites. They are both amazingly accomplished people, graduate degrees, Ivy League, etc. Rich was a managing editor for Car and Driver for 4 years, kind of right out of the box. They're both accomplished race car drivers. They do rehabs on buildings. They do restorations on cars. They've won just, a variety of different kinds of design awards and art awards and writing awards, etc. They are just some of the most fun, interesting, accomplished people that you'll ever want to know, and super, super helpful with doing this event and events. And the one that we were on was just spectacular. Had just a wonderful time. So speaking of cars and car classes, this was the listing that we had, and this is not exhaustive. So when you have the rally book, which we'll do a deep dive into, it lists these different kinds of classes, and it lists what cars are in those classes. And it also lists who's driving the cars and who, like their addresses and things like that, which is very nice. It also helps foster a sense of community. And oh, you're from this area. That's, I'm live 20 miles from there, or whatever. So that's all very nice. And I will say, while this is a very impressive list of cars, there are a number of others that did not make it. There's a number of other Lotuses that were there and some other Ferraris. And oh my gosh, it was just really an amazing experience. So with the Wranglers, they have people that if you have a breakdown, that they will see if they can fix your car right there and get it back on the road. There's never a rally that doesn't have some kind of hiccup or not necessarily a full breakdown, but some kind of issue with the car. And that was the case with us too. And with the exception, I think, of one car, they were able to get everything going. So they've got complete set of tools and oftentimes spare parts. And it's just really, when you look at the variety and heterogeneity of these cars, it's sort of amazing that people can have that many available tools that they can tote around with them and be able to do the work they do and have the knowledge and technical ability to be able to do that. So really, really pretty cool. So speaking of the cars, here's kind of a lineup of it. You can see in the lower picture on the right-hand side, that's my 2023 C8 Corvette. And we all, we get to line up in very nice places in these beautiful hotels. You can see the fall colors there. And again, just really a who's who of vintages and varieties and makes and whatnot. This was a father and son vintage Ferrari and Porsche Speedster. So, and they actually they brought their own crew for 2 mechanics and stuff to take care of the cars. So a lot of the cars were open, had no tops to put up, which I can imagine some of those chilly mornings. We had great weather, which was wonderful to not have rain or snow, but still pretty chilly in the mornings when we would start off. You can see a little frost and humidity there on the Ferrari. And then here they are, ready to go for the day. Obviously, this Ferrari is not its first rodeo or rally for the one that we were on there. And this is kind of like a POV view from my car the first day. I'm following a 2024 Lotus Emira, I think is how it's pronounced. There's a Dino, the yellow Dino to the right. There were 2 Dinos. You just don't see that. And the Dinos weren't even listed on the car classes that I just showed you. There's a vintage Jaguar up there that has a forever open top, so to speak. And they've got teeny weeny little windshields. There's a late model gray Ferrari there to the right. A late model red Ferrari up front. I think that looks like a red Porsche there getting ready to pull out. So this is kind of one of the fun things. You have, I think it's typically 1 minute gaps between the times that you start. And it's just kind of a fun lineup, and hearing all the cars start up in the morning and stuff. It's just really great fun for car people. So the rally book, as I mentioned, everybody gets a rally book. They are beautifully put together. They make a wonderful keepsake. The rally book, like I mentioned, had all the car classes and people's contact information, etc. And this is just kind of a general overview of the route instructions. So you turn the pages. This also just gives a kind of a historic perspective on this rally in particular. And it was its 19th time that they've run it. So they really pretty much know what they're doing. They don't do the same routes every single time. We don't stay in the same hotels every single time, etc. So this always will change, but it's always kind of neat to kind of see what has come before and to have a context for what you're going to be doing then. They also very nicely, this is the Wranglers that I was telling you about, the people that help keep you on track and make sure that you're in the right places, make sure that your cars are running and that everything goes well with that. So they are just a wonderful set of super helpful, super talented people. And then also not just that 19 years worth of doing the mountain ones, but also just looking back, year by year, just kind of, again, this gives you a flavor of what the cars were like. So this is just kind of an arbitrary, sticking my thumb in it, 2016 set of shots of the just beautiful, beautiful, impressive cars. And I just can't imagine. We drove our car out there. I don't think very many, some people locally to the area drove their cars there and back, but most of these cars got shipped there, which, makes sense with the type of car they are. But nevertheless, once the car is shipped there, there's a general expectation that you're going to be driving around on very narrow roads with everybody else and their brother, 4,000 miles. So stone chips, bird droppings, bad drivers on other people's part. The roads, we were lucky. It seemed like, honest to goodness, it seemed like every single road we were on had just been paved 10 minutes before we got there. But of course, there's other things of speed bumps and potholes, and you really there's very narrow, most of the way was very, very narrow. So you really got to not drop off an edge or you're going to have a bigger problem. So this is some photo look backs from the 2020, and there's a Mercedes SL Roadster. So just really cool people, cool cars, very interesting. People love to talk about their cars and their experiences with them, which is also for me, and if you're into this, very, very fun. So the book itself, there's emergency numbers right off the bat. Then the entrants that I mentioned, and the entrants are there with what their cars are, who they are, and what classes their cars are in. An overall schedule, which you'll see in just a second, and then each day is broken out by kind of where you're going, with a map, with a little sketch of like where you're going to go, what you're going to see, historic buildings, historic sites, interesting people, etc. for the balance of the rally. So this is, again, kind of the overview of it. So we got there on a Sunday. We got our kit and got organized and everything. We started in earnest then on Monday the 21st. And this just kind of gives you an overview of kind of what's what, how many miles, how many minutes. Some of the things are called transit. So when it's transit, it's not really a timed part of it. It's just getting your car from point A to point B to then do something that is indeed timed. So the total mileage with expectation of all of these was scoosh over 1,000. So 1,024.1 miles with the average expectation for the minutes and mileage. And so let me just maybe unpack that a little bit now. What happens is, I don't know if it's the next slide. Yeah. So you get a kind of a very specific expectation of what's the day going to be like, which is also very nice. Just to know what to expect and how much free time you might have, or how much behind the wheel time you might have, or if you want to do something else like to get in a workout or do some extra sightseeing or do some extra driving or what have you. So it just gives you kind of a nice overview this way. And then the specifics, like I mentioned, you have a map of where it is, where you're going, and everything is just beautifully marked. Certainly you can use your Navi, but it's not necessarily all that helpful because you don't You might be going from point A to point B, but your Navi's probably going to want to have you go in the most direct route and maybe regular highways, not all the back roads and things. So Navi's really, I mean, they're fine for the map, but not necessarily for doing a rally like this. So for example, stage one, on the right-hand side, you can see that you start off at 0. The expectation is you're going to drive around 47.3 miles. It's going to take you around 85 minutes, and if you average it out, you're going to be doing around 43 miles-ish per hour. So the point isn't to get there first. It isn't to get there last. It's to get there. It's Goldilocks, just sweet spot, right being on time. So you could have, out of 50 cars could all get there, nailed it at 47.3 miles right on time. So some people, again, there's traffic, there's stoplights in some places, there's road construction in some places. So all of those things may slow down your competitors or may slow you down, or just the variety of things that can happen on a regular open road non-racetrack. So my wife would go through these and sort of like check things off, or have places that were, might be in particular kind of tricky to find. And I tell you, this guide was perfect. So I would watch my odometer just as much as my speedometer. The downside for both of us is that the irony is you sometimes don't get a whole lot of sightseeing. I mean, if you've got a long distance, like you see, like there's 18 miles or whatever in between these different points, there's some points where you have just some really nice open road driving, or like 11.1 there, what have you. So then you kind of get to look around and enjoy the, in this case, fall colors, etc. So it really, I hope this demystifies it, because I was always wondering, well, how does a navigator know? Why don't you just plug it in your Navi, etc. So this was very helpful. If you're kind of more map driven, you can kind of get an idea and a gestalt of what your day is going to be like and visualize it. But you really do need these point by point turns. Where do we turn and where are we, and is it a right or left, and how soon does this come up? Do I have a little bit of time to get there, or is it going to be turn, turn, turn real quick so that you stay on track and don't get lost? The hotels, we stayed at 3 hotels. The start and the end was the Homestead, which is in Hot Springs, a beautiful historic property. A couple of things about this too. One of the things that they also do for you, even though we had room in our car for our bags, people that had their cars shipped or whatever, probably had luggage that they brought on their flights. So everybody would have their luggage, whatever luggage they wanted, taken from one hotel to another, done. So you got little tags. They would come to your room, they would pick up your luggage, and then you would get to your next stop, and magically your luggage would be there, which was really a nice convenience. So the Homestead, we started at the Homestead. We went to 2 other hotels. I'll show you in just a second, and then we wound back up at the Homestead. So kind of starting and stopping at the same point makes a lot of sense when there's car delivery, et cetera, et cetera. So, and my goodness, the Homestead, it's just gone through, I don't know how many $1 million restoration within the last couple of years before we got there. And it is just spectacular, of the grand architecture of that day, and just really kind of cool grounds. Thomas Jefferson had put in men's and women's hot spring bathing pools, and this is, there's one now, co-ed, so to speak. It's outside. We went in it. It's really kind of neat. It doesn't have it's not like a swimming pool. It's not like a tiled bottom. It's not chlorinated. It's just these mineral springs, and I forget, there's a number of them that feed these. So that was just really a nice experience. It had an odor to it, but it wasn't stinky or anything like that. It was really fun. And then they also had this area where you could have the hot springs mineral waters and walk along these stones and kind of get a reflex massage, foot massage, warm water, zen-ish kind of thing, which was kind of cool. I don't think this dates back to Jefferson's time, but it was just really kind of a neat, interesting amenity, and very much welcome after a lot of miles in the cars. It also has just a beautiful veranda out front with like a little snack shop. You can grab a sandwich and a coffee and come out here, just grab a coffee and look at the fall foliage and just the beautiful mountains, and just a wonderful, peaceful kind of area to enjoy the beginning or the end of your day. The next stop then was to the Bavarian Inn in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Really cool historic property that I think it started off as a house, and maybe it's gone to being a boarding house and then finally to a hotel. Had a number of additions, newer buildings added onto it. This is ours. It had a fireplace. It also had been recently renovated, had a balcony. We got to look out upon the Potomac here, and I think the other side of the bridge is Maryland. So just, again, beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, beautiful circumstances, and neat places to be able to stay. And then those also offered opportunities to have meals with other people and get to know them, talk about them, their history, their backgrounds, their cars, etc. From there, we made our way to Bedford Springs and the Bedford Inn. Again, a humongous, beautiful, historic property, kind of all here diked out for fall. Right across from it is it's kind of really surrounded by a lovely, lovely park. My wife and I went for a hike there one afternoon when we'd gotten in a little earlier. And that felt great. Felt good to be in nature, felt good to be out of the car, felt good to stretch our legs, and had lots of beautiful things to see and really nice hike, wonderful weather. This is just kind of right outside everyone's room on the wing that we were on. So they had these lovely rocking chairs, and you could go out and see this. The balconies have like little white Christmas lights, and the trees had lights. And it's just beautiful in the evening as well. When you check in, there is this historic flag that is huge. I mean, it's just wall to wall, floor to ceiling. And you can see that historically, when it had first been put together, there had been subsequently 3 more states added to it, which I just thought was one of the coolest things I had ever seen, to see a flag like that, and honestly, such amazing condition as well, too. And the interior architecture is just as impressive as the outsides. Just, again, a beautiful, beautiful property, beautiful grounds area, and neat place to stay. Kind of, in a sense, these hotels, as grand as they are really kind of off the beaten path. They're not near any kind of major airport hubs or big highways or anything like that, so it kind of makes them all the more charming. Historically, there have been a number of weddings there. You can take a historic walking tour through it over the centuries, literally. And we found this one area where the bride and groom would sign their marriage certificate, and there's little scratches in the glass case. And they had a note there that the brides-to-be would check to make sure that their diamond engagement rings were actual real diamonds, to see if it etched the glass. So cute little historic bits and things like that just really add to the richness of the trip. Also, we wouldn't just go hotel to hotel oftentimes. We had other kinds of stops. So this was a functioning, I think, well over 200-year-old grain mill that we got to stop at. And it was functioning, and we got to meet the proprietor and restorer and see this in action. And just, again, lovely, run by a water mill, just beautiful. We went to a fellow's private property, and he has a barn called Rocking Horse Racing, and he has one of the most impressive collections of vintage race cars. That was just really kind of nice and special, and again, very homey. They baked. We had baked goods that morning and coffee, and it just really made for a wonderful time of casual conversation and talking about race cars and whatnot, and just being able to see some of these very rare machines that you don't see generally ever, let alone in a collection like this. And also, he had done some car restorations that had trophied at Pebble Beach, and this was one of the jigs, I guess you would call it, where he actually hand hammers out material to be able to create or recreate fenders and whatnot. So quite a skilled motorsports artisan as well, not just having a neat collection. We also, sometimes along the way, would have various stops. This is one of it's a hotel, but it also had a public restaurant in it. This is the interior. And again, nice conversations over just wonderful buffet meals, and really had a nice time. This is looking out. It's kind of cute. The parking lot here, you've got, Ferraris and Porsches and whatnots of all ages and years, and then a Subaru, of course. They weren't rallying, but very ecumenical parking lot with lots of interesting vehicles of all kinds. We also went to Gettysburg. My wife's family on her mother's side is from Gettysburg, so we took kind of an afternoon off, which is fine to do, I should say, as well. So if there's other places that might you have a special interest in or whatever that are along the way, this was one of our stops, official transit stops, so people could come there and see what's what. But since there was a familial history with the area, we went and visited my wife's grandparents' homes and her parents' home and her uncle's home, etc. So just really, and again, beautiful day, beautiful fall colors, and Gettysburg is just really a very special and sacred kind of space. And the people. Oh my goodness. Since our time there was around Halloween, one of the fun things to do was at the final dinner and award ceremony was to do dressing up as your favorite car. So you kind of can't tell. That's me kind of center in the middle here, left-hand side looking at the camera. I have a Stingray t-shirt on as an homage to my Stingray Corvette that we were in. But just, and everybody else had great sense of humor. Just, again, a wonderful, wonderful time, wonderful events, wonderful venues, wonderful food, and wonderful conversations. So next up will be the roads, but one of the things, shout out to Hammer Nutrition. All the activities that I've done this year with the Corvette have been sponsored by Young Automotive and Hammer and the Center for Global Initiatives. Hammer was very kind for me to be a brand ambassador in 2024. I got notification and just signed the contract that I am now a sponsored athlete for them in 2025. So see what shows up around that. A lot of surprises, I'm sure, will come from there. The other thing is we actually had some pretty good times on some of the timed legs. So that won us this platter award, or trophy, if you will, which was kind of a nice unexpected surprise. That's the backside of our rally book. So every time you pull in, you show them what your number is if you're doing a timed segment. So we were number 41. You can see I'm holding the license plate there. I didn't have the ability to affix it to the front of my car. A lot of people did, but generally you just kind of have it on your dashboard. So you get a rally number that way. You get your IDs and just a really wonderful kit of materials too, a bag and McGuire's car wax and microfiber towels and shirts and caps and coats, and just really a lot of nice gear and memorabilia as well. So I hope this helps in terms of understanding what a rally is like, or at least a rally like this. If you're interested, again, big fan of vintage rallies. I have no sponsorship from them, so it's just saying it as being a fan with no payment included. And coming up next, the video will round out with 2 clips of some of the roads, so you can kind of get a feel for what it was an experience like with the point of view of the driver and the navigator. This was done, again, tip of the hat to the engineers at Corvette. This is not shot via GoPro, but it's shot via the onboard system, and I could do a video overlay of what gear I was in, what speed I was in, what my RPM revs were, what my G-forces were, etc., to give you kind of a feel. And again, it's not a race. I wasn't doing like Road America or land speed racing on this. You got to be very respectful of the speed limits and safety and whatnot. But the little bit of a problem is that the road noise and the revs of the car sometimes drowned out what I'm saying. So I apologize for that. I can't pull up my voice in car better than what it is at this point. So I hope nevertheless that'll give you a little bit of a snippet and a feel and a taste for what it was like to be behind the wheel. So again, I appreciate all your support watching this. Check out the show notes below for the other videos. I also have a link to Greg's video that he did a beautiful job on this rally as well. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and check out the other content that I have. Drive safe. This is not the official rally roads. We've done that a few days early on in the rally, which was really enjoyable. But man, some of those roads, even just getting out to where the rally started out in Virginia, on the way in West Virginia, we had a variety of roads that were 55 miles an hour, and very, very, very twisty, very
like no shoulder runoff, not even a white stripe. And we just saw tons of trucks and all sorts of other cars just should not have been going fast on those roads. So this might be a sample. We've never been on this road before, but it'll give you a general idea of what we've also been very fortunate to have very good road conditions in these roads also, and like that. They very smooth, look like they've been maybe newly paved and striped. Here's an example of it, some road work ahead, and right now, not a whole lot of traffic. Most of it's been generally that way for us as well, which has been very nice. So I'll probably see if I can pause this and then come back once we get past the roadwork. You can also see the point of it too, this time of year is cooler, crisper weather. We've had just beautiful, perfect weather. You can see those are probably the first clouds we've seen over that mountaintop, if it shows, that we've seen in a while. But we've been very fortunate with dewy mornings, but in the 30s sometimes. There's a worker, and we'll just slow down. Dewy mornings, and let's see, come here, and high 30s, 40s, and then 70s up to low 80s in some of the places we've been. At some point, I'm not sure where I'll drop this video, but I'll also have an overview of what our map course was. So I'm just going to do a little more curvy through here. Give you kind of a feel. A lot of them are banked, which is nice. Probably not so much, maybe banking for a little bit for speed, but we also presume that it's to get snow and ice off, because we've been in areas where it's been like this, and it is very snowy and icy in the wintertime, we suppose. The worst part for me, sometimes this dappled light of the sun, because it's October, is very low, and a lot of times when you go in a direction heading easterly, that you get the sunlight right in your eyes. That's no fun, but then a lot of these hills are kind of blind turns, so it's more road work ahead. So you'll come up like a little hilltop and just not be sure if you're going straight or right or left, or if there's anybody crossing the yellow lines that in your way. So that's probably the most anxiety-producing, isn't it? It's also been weird to me. We did the Tail of the Dragon a while back, and it's very, very strict on the 30 mile an hour speed limit through there. But here it's been kind of crazy that the roads are 55 miles an hour, and people do well over that in vehicles that you wouldn't think would be the smartest to be doing